Welcome to episode 10, Emma, and today is our last episode of season 2. Gosh, that's gone really quick, and it's been so much fun.
Wow, yeah, hasn't it? And here we are at the time when we do our good work story.
Ooh,
Yay!
yay! Yeah, that's how we roll at the end of the season. So we have 9 bad work stories, and then we like to end with the good. Cool.
The good, yeah. And it's definitely time for a good work story. And this episode is about reflection.
Mm-hmm.
So we started the season with a question. Do we have the physical, mental, and emotional energy to stop bad work stories happening? And my answer was, sadly, not all the time. We rock up feeling tired, emotionally drained, hungry, with short attention spans and fuses, jacked up on caffeine, definitely for me, highly processed foods, and demanding work environments. And, this is before we have any interactions with our team, our bosses, and our customers. So, and we're expected to deliver seamless collaboration, efficiencies, and high performance and flow.
We're not asking for much, are we?
No, so we are the bad work story, how we show up at work, and many of us have started off with goals at the beginning of the year. So we're here at the end of the first quarter and, a desire to be better. And it's a great time to do reflection.
Cool, absolutely. Yeah, the emphasis of that was inspired by, of course, New Year's resolutions and, how we all kind of, we're going to do something and we get really super excited. But of course, as we all know, that motivation, I can speak from the eye, it's, decreases. So, it's a great chance, as you're saying, to check in with, what are the habits that we've taken on board and, and invite our listeners to do, the reflection as we go through as well as you and I are going to do, Emma, to actually really, change the course of suffering at work. We need to show up differently.
Totally.
And, how we're feeling and what we're behaving. And so we looked at some foundations, didn't we? Do you remember?
Totally, yeah. Those foundations of human functioning, sleep, hydration, nutrition, movement, especially in nature. So we shared, what habits we had. So let's start here and check in with the last 10 weeks. How's it been going for you, Karina?
Well, that makes me think of, that really nice quotation, which I'm not sure if you've heard it before, which is, we don't rise to the occasion or our expectations. We sink or fall to the level of our training. And this was made popular by a Navy SEAL and, all about the training and discipline and commitment. But the original comes from way back, way back. And, apparently 650 BC with a Greek poet. And, and I love that because it's like in the work that we do in leadership or being in teams or, facilitating, coach, whatever it is, right? What is the level of training so that when the shit hits the fan, literally, or we're in those crisis, high pressure environments, what is, the level that we're falling to on our training is high enough.
Yes.
So that we can actually stop the ripples that we've spoken a lot about.
Totally.
So for me, what's been going on? What I've done really well, I think, was and been conscious about it too, is the stacking of a number of those foundation habits. Like walking, like movement. So walking in nature. With my dog Rocky. Either doing it in silence to allow my brain to rest and just be present and observe and enjoy and, be, present with Rocky and the environment, or engage in learning, listen to a podcast, or to be social by connecting with other human beings. Wow. And I do this, probably every 3 hours, when I'm not traveling or working with a client. And I definitely, makes me feel more present, energized, feeling good and mentally sharp. Things to continue to improve and work on is, I love continuously exploring different things. So I've just, exploring a new morning ritual, which I'll be able to talk more about in season 3. And I want to
Mm.
get, with summer approaching, just to get really deliberate about how I take care of, my nutrition. And those of you who've been following us know that I'm as part of my menopausal, postmenopausal plan, taking care of fasting.
Mm.
That, the more social occasions, that'll be coming up, starting with the barbecue here in the northern hemisphere. I know it's different for you, Emma, in the southern hemisphere. We're doing the reverse transitions. So, and from a podcast perspective, how do we bring our message to a wider audience so that we can stop more suffering? It doesn't have to be
Absolutely.
this way. So yeah. So what about yourself?
Yeah, from my perspective, one of the things that hasn't worked well is I've lost a good sleep pattern recently. I'm drinking too much coffee, which gets me to get me through the day. So there's kind of like this bad cycle that happens. I get tired. I reach for something that I know works mindlessly, though. I mean, not engaging. What I should be doing is saying, gosh, I'm losing some energy here. Do I need to eat? Do I need to hydrate? Do I need to do some
Mm,
exercise? Should I be,
mm,
taking some breath work, doing some meditation? So I know I have lots of other options, but just in the last week or so, it's slipped into I'll just grab a coffee and press on. So, over Easter, the holiday break we have, I'm going to cut back. I should be brave enough to go cold turkey and go, no coffee. But, I'm going to I've got this fear of the headaches and the exhaustion that could come from my withdrawal. But, I could instantly improve my sleep because basically I will need to sleep, sleep it off. So it could be good. Season changing here, as you said, Karina, and we're going into the cooler weather, but definitely socializing with alcohol is a thing which I do partake of. I enjoy a glass of wine or two, but it can take on a larger part of my life, which it shouldn't. We're just at the wedding at the weekend, drinking some fabulous champagne, so certainly need to cut back and do other things in the evening, listen to music and play games where when we're coming inside for evenings more, we tend to do more games and things like that. So so the next season I can really sort of hunker down a little bit, but and echo the need for us to spread our message and help more people.
mm.
Definitely.
Can I ask you, like there's a whole suite of amazing things that you've just talked about there. What
Yeah.
happened that triggered you into, over caffeinating or, the sleep thing actually. So we go back to the
Mm.
core. So what triggered you to get into that? Because that was so important to you.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know whether it's just getting into an overthinking cycle, and like, pressing on, having some things that I needed to get done in a day and thinking this is an easy way to solve my energy deficit, falling back on an old habit, a bad habit,
Mhm. Mhm.
and not being, as I say, mindful enough to stop and actually say, what do I really need? What is the right choice for my body right now? So I think it was just a spiral, just a falling back, which
Mm. So
a
human, yeah.
truly human thing that happens. But
Absolutely.
what the trigger was, probably just maybe a bit of laziness, maybe a bit of just work piling up and thinking, oh, this'll do. I'll give myself a coffee and we'll press on through. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, as you're saying, that mindfulness of our awareness, of that. And I can remember reading something I think James Clear actually spoke about in his amazing book, Atomic Habits, that old habits actually we don't get rid of them. They kind
no,
of go dormant.
yeah,
And as you said, and so as soon as you're in a position of not being deliberate,
yeah,
then it's like me and eating. It's I can crash on the carbs and the
Yeah,
non-healthy ones, and
totally.
justify it to the cows come home, literally, so just the really, that level of training that we need to,
Totally.
what are we falling to, which is really
Absolutely.
interesting.
Mm.
A little technique that I use, just on the subject of caffeination, is decaf. So but it's actually quite hard to find good quality
Mm.
Swiss water extracted decaf. So I kind of fool myself into, one's got the caffeine in it and the other's
Yeah.
got none, or very, very little.
Yeah.
And green tea. So
Yes.
what have you done
Yes.
well? What's a win this quarter that you could share?
Yeah, definitely for me, walking, getting out into nature and exercising has been awesome. This part of the season for me, again, it's easier in the summer. The sun is up, and I've been on my bike, and going to the beach
Nice.
and swimming. So definitely the movement and the exercise part, I feel great. So I mean that part has definitely been good. And that's another thing, if I do more exercise, I'll sleep better. So,
Mm.
so
I know
again,
it's all
it's part of the
connected.
cycle. It's all connected.
It's all
Yeah.
connected. And what about for the podcast? What's your reflections on this season?
Hmm.
What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think our flow of stories has worked well. We found how to get our points across. I'm excited to see our numbers trending up. It
Thank
feels
you,
good.
everybody.
Yeah, it's nice to see that little line moving up as people are joining us and listening.
Nice.
Um, and we've asked for a few listeners, the ones we know, to give us some honest feedback, and they did, and it's very helpful. So we continue to grow in our confidence. And Karina, you're not swearing as much these days, even though I just noticed a little slip earlier.
Oh, I have replacement words now.
What's your favorite replacement word? Come on.
Frig. Frig.
Still an F word. It's still an F
Still an F word. Yeah, I know.
word.
Yeah, no,
So what are we doing well? What do you think we're
yeah. I
doing
mean, I
well?
think I think it's just being on purpose, and
Mm,
purpose of the podcast, and our collaboration and love for the work we do, and our companionship and friendship has been
mm,
amazing again for another season, and that's makes it very special for me. And I, just as you said, getting positive feedback is really helpful and supportive. And um, and I think I'd also like to make an offer. Like, so if
mm,
you are a regular listener and you maybe for whatever reason haven't reached out with any feedback, we'd love to kind of give you a little offer of appreciation for
mm,
doing that. And if you can send in some feedback around what you're loving about the podcast, what you think could improve it, either in content or reach, and also a subject, like what's an issue that
mm.
that you're experiencing yourself. And as a thank you for doing that, and you can email us, the connection points are in the show notes. And as a thank you, we'd like to offer everyone who we receive a communication from a 30-minute chat with either myself or Emma on the subject of your choice. And, you can choose whoever. The other person's not going to be offended. We just want to be in service and really stand in our purpose of stopping the bad work stories, stop the suffering. The ripples
Absolutely.
don't need to be there. So, Emma, anything else for you? Oh, we haven't.
Mm.
What have we actually covered this? What have we actually covered this?
Yeah. Well, good
The season.
thinking.
Let's just
Yes.
do a little. Yeah. What did we
Yeah.
cover?
Well, we've spoken a lot about emotional regulation, how we really respond or react and what the outcome we're getting, using your values and the values of your organization and your team to guide you for what you want to achieve. We've spoken about obviously habits, that help us to be more present, engaged, and connected before we even turn up for work. We've looked at feedback, how to give feedback that will be positive for the interactions you have, authentic leadership, And we spoke about narcissism. That actually got quite a lot of hits. So
That was
there's
popular,
obviously
wasn't it?
struck a nerve there. Um,
Yeah.
exit strategies, how to leave an organisation, and what happens when we do have colleagues leave or we leave ourselves. International Women's Days, we celebrated, and we had with our first guest. So that
Yeah,
was
we did with
exciting.
Sarah. Yeah.
Yeah, and we talked about inclusion, especially about the issues still where we don't have, enough Black women or women of colour in the C-suite. And, what still needs to be done? So much still needs to be done. So, yeah. And Valentine's Day. Oh, the
Oh, yes,
day
it's
of
been,
love. Using love at work. And Karina, you shared that beautiful poem. So as a gift to us all. So we've
yeah.
covered a lot of ground.
We sure have. We sure have. And as we finish up, everyone, we invite you to do your reflection. Like in terms of the last 3 months of how your own personal leadership, and particularly connected to the habits, the foundational habits that we've shared here, maybe other habits that you have, and some of the tools and techniques that Emma and I have shared with you, with the deliberate intention of how do we change ourselves out, how do we become the humans who actually the default is good work stories. And sure, some stuff can happen, and it's resolved really quickly and cleanly and with care and love and appreciation and learning. And, we stop the ripple of suffering, and that's what we're here to do. So, yeah. So any last comments, Em?
No, I mean, I just think that, have an awesome holiday if you're going to get a break. I hope you are. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you when we're back. End of May.
End of May. And yeah, so finally, everybody, a big thank you. Thank you to sharing your time and your presence with us. We really appreciate that. We hope everything's been super helpful to you. And and that you have many good work stories. Happening, coming your way. So with love and appreciation,
don't worry, we'll be back. We'll be back to work on the bad ones. So yeah,
we'll be back at the end of May. So much love from us. Bye for now.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Bad Work Stories Made Good with Emma and Karina. We hope you enjoyed this episode and that the perspectives we've shared stimulate your thinking and are a catalyst for your own reflections and actions. If you have a bad work story you would like to share, get in touch at help@badworkstoriesmadegood.com. And if you enjoyed or have some feedback, please leave a review. We appreciate it. Till next time, may all your bad work stories be made good.